be asked a series of questions related to your budget information that you have pre-submitted to this committee for review. Please answer as completely as you can. However, if any answers to our questions require more than a brief explanation, you may indicate so and provide a more thorough response to the committee in writing. Also, in order to complete our examination of your budgets, it may be necessary to forward some additional questions after tonight's hearing. All right, I'm going to turn this over to our majority council now, and please take attendance.
Sure, Madam Chairwoman. Ms. Willingham.
Present.
Reedy.
Here.
Alex. Here. Smitho.
Here.
Demolowitz.
Here.
Ray, Joyce, and Bergdorf are excused. Lakakis.
Yeah.
And Grimm.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Our Public Works chairperson is here, Mr. Ricard. Our Mass Transit chairperson is here, Susan Larilliard. Our Economic Development chairperson is here, and that is Gary Demolowitz. And our Personnel chairperson is here, and that is Lynn Lakakis. Anyone's names that I did not call, we'll start down there with Vicki Plotsky and come this way.
Vicki Plotsky, 38th Legislative District.
Danielle Gillespie, 12th District. Susan Petto is 5.
Jeff Curley, District 31, Berlin, Altamont, Nuts.
Frank Moriello, District 27, South Colony.
Mr. Grimm, oh, I'm sorry, not you. Okay.
Katie Claire Curley.
Ellen Rosano, Chair of Social Service, District 24.
Matt Miller, District 36, Glenmont, Selkirk.
Tim Lane, District 14, Colony.
Jennifer Whalen, District 21, Colony.
All right, so we have 17 members present at the moment. I'm sure more will be coming in. Tonight, this is our, Tuesday, October 21st. This is session 2, and it's the infrastructure and general government agencies tonight. Number 1 is going to be human resources. Number 2 is economic development and planning. 3 is the Civic Center. 4 is parks and recreation. 6 is water purification. 8 is the information services. 9 is civil service. 10 is public works. And 11 is general services. We will start with human resources right now. Thank you. Please introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
And make sure you speak into the mic.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Committee. I'm Emma T., Commissioner of Human Resources.
My name is Shannon Colville. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of Human Resources.
And I see Mr. Riley has joined you at the table just in case he needs to answer some questions.
So thank you all for being here tonight. Just a note, we do not have any budget changes as it relates to salaries beyond the cost of living adjustments for the Department of Human Resources. Some of the questions that were brought to our attention with the submissions that we made to you guys, first and foremost, was there any plans to expand the daycare for employees? Right now, Albany County offers the subsidized daycare for its employees at the Little Sprouts facility at Shaker Place. There are no current plans to create additional daycare facilities at this time.
Is that in your presentation? Okay, I'm going to start with number 1.
Chairwoman, there was one other question. I do apologize. And does HR have a plan to step up recruiting? If so, how much will that cost? That question should be directed to Civil Service, as although we work with Civil Service, they have a budgeted line in addition to an individual that focuses on recruitment in their department.
Okay, first, I'll start with the first question, which will...
I'd like to add there was an additional question. The question was also, do unions unions advertising and recruiting, which doesn't seem to meet all standards. That was added in the question. So for Albany County employees, it is not the union's responsibility to do recruiting for Albany County employees. So that is handled via civil service as well.
Okay. Please use the mic from now on, okay? So my first question.
Could you hear me?
Yes. My first question will be, please highlight new projects for your department in 2026.
Absolutely.
And also at the pleasure for all of our members, your budget book, pages 123 through 126 for human resources. Yes.
Madam Chairwoman, in partnership with DIS, we're working to enhance the use of our technology and create a more user-friendly, accessible experience for our employees. With that being said, we're looking for an HRIS system that stores employee data such as personal information, job history, compensation, benefits, and performance in one secure location. This reduces duplication, increases data accuracy, and makes it easy to access and manage records. The HRIS system provides reporting and analytic capabilities that help HR and leadership make informed decisions based on real-time data, whether it's tracking turnover, analyzing compensation, or forecasting staffing needs that we can support civil service with. There will be two facets. One will be employee-facing, which is an employee can log on and see their accruals and pay stubs and that sort of information. And the other side of the house will be employer-facing, which will allow the employer to manage and maintain the benefits on our side of the house. If you also see in the budget, there was a renaming of position going from personnel administrator to HRIS specialist. So this person will be designated to oversee that operation.
All right, so let's continue in that vein. Please discuss staff reorganization of titles, include annualizing of positions previously created in the 2025 budget.
So as you see in the budget presented, there are two titles that were renamed. As Emma and I were both new to the department this year, we tried to get a lay of the land and take a more modernized approach to the department to see where our efforts needed to be focused. As I just discussed with you, the HRIS system is something that would bring the county up to a more modernized time and be in compliance with record keeping and those sorts of things. The other side is the employee relations specialist, which was, again, renamed from another personnel administrator position. As you guys know, we have 19 collective bargaining agreements that all expire at the same time in the same year. So to take a more proactive approach in this process, we looked at this individual starting to create conversations and facilitate open communication with the union's presidents and vice presidents to start to talk about what they're looking for during the negotiation process.
All right, thank you. Gary?
Thank you, Mayor Chairman. Can you briefly discuss the new cost in your fees for services and identify what they are?
Yes.
You have 600,000 in there now,
600,000.
page 125.
600,000.
Two separate questions.
Yeah, that's one question. The fees
Hold
for
on.
services.
Yeah.
Let me just pull up the budget, Mr. Demolowitz, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, it included costs for retirement health plan, an increase in that also?
The 600,000 are the computer fees, so that is HRIS system, Unisystem, all the computer-based systems that have related to HR.
Does that include increase in cost for retiree health?
So that retiree health would not be under computer fees, no.
So how is that going to affect the budget this year?
I can get back to you. As we're still negotiating the retiree health cost plans, I can get back to you with that.
So the computer fees are up to 600,000, which you talked about already.
Correct.
So that's something new, because you have.
Nope, that is the same amount that it's been across the board.
Correct. Oh, okay, all right. I'm sorry, I'm looking back at 2020.
It's okay.
Excuse me. You're good? All right, now, are there any questions from any of the members of the Audit and Finance Committee? Okay, Ms. Edwards?
I was just wondering with the REACH cooperative program, we had 3 million in there, and now it's not being funded.
So that program is being put on hold. I can defer to Dave Riley as that is an executive office decision.
So I'll apologize, I don't remember what the acronym REACH stands for, but what it is this was the county executive's desire to set up a healthcare consortium for the, for the smaller municipalities, governmental groups in the county. We weren't able to get everything over the finish line to say we're gonna start it for next year. So what we're going to do is we're gonna take the money that was budgeted to stand that up, because that was gonna have to be a reserve that was mandated by law, that 3 million so sitting there. We're gonna encumber that into next year, and hopefully we can get that across the goal line next year to help out. It was a couple of the early adopters were some of the library districts. I think the village of Voorheesville might have been one, but it's to help the smaller municipalities when we can do that.
Sure, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Mr. Grimm?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I look at total revenue is 5.5 million, and our total appropriation is 4.3 million. The county comes out ahead there. But the revenue is just for 2 line items, and I wish you could explain more about those 2 things if you would. Page 126.
Do you want me to just take that over?
Pharmaceutical, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Grimm, I'm going to pass it to Mr. Riley.
Okay? Whatever you're comfortable with.
So the 3.6 million, the first one, the pharmaceutical rebates, that has to do with, there's a pharmacy benefit manager, would that be the proper term?
Employee benefit manager.
Yeah.
So it's an outside vendor that comes in, they've been working with us for a couple of years now, we got about $4 million in revenue this year, we're predicting 3.6 based on the vendor next year. What they do is, a lot of times when employees have specific prescriptions, like I don't know if you've seen on the commercials when they're like, if you can't afford this drug, call AstraZeneca and we have a program to help you. They actually do that in bulk and many other strategies. They do bulk purchasing, they'll call up the pharmaceutical company directly and say, we've got 20 employees that are on this long-term med, cut us a 10% break, cut us a 20% break. They do all that, they take a piece of the savings, and then the rest of the savings is that 3.6 million, it's actual cash coming back to us.
Oh, okay.
And then the other piece is the shared service charge. So that basically takes the benefit that HR is providing to the other departments and charges back a pro rata share based on the number of employees. The reason for that is in departments like the nursing home, where they can put their costs on the cost report, it allows us to put a true cost on them for what they cost, not just what it costs in the tower, in the building out at the nursing home, but, HR costs down here, IT costs down here, other things that are centralized. We can parse out a portion of their department's cost to those other cost centers to get reimbursement on them.
How much money do we spend? I think to me HR is big in terms of shaping the culture of an organization. And one of my priorities is productivity. We're maximizing the productivity of employees. That they're aware of the value of that and they appreciate it fully. Is there any money in this budget, for example, that would underscore that cultural piece?
So if you look at the budget that we presented to you guys, there is a dollar amount that's allocated for different trainings, whether it be implicit bias training, supervisory training, reasonable suspicion training, and some of that training is for our emerging leaders, right? Something that Emma and I have determined is sometimes an individual is the best caseworker that they could be, and then they're promoted into a supervisory role, a leadership role. So what we're trying to do is develop a plan to give those individuals the necessary training that they might need to be the most efficient and effective in their roles. And that's kind of how the approach that we're taking in 2026. To kind of piggyback off of what Dave said moments ago, Human Resources is tasked with being a resource for the entire county, not just the employees at 112 State Street.
Right.
So we have employees at satellite locations, we have the offices for separately elected officials throughout the county with a total head count of roughly 2,400 employees. right? So we want to be effective and efficient under all areas, just not for the, to your point, employees in our office. We've already started with conducting training sessions with deputies, commissioners, and top-level leadership in the department with key areas that they're looking for additional training in being effective and efficient.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a trainer most of my life, and I think it's important to underscore the cultural aspects of this, because there's so many trainings that are mandated.
Right.
And we have to do them every year, even though they're the same thing, basically. So I just want to get the most value we can out of our training, especially in such a sensitive organization as HR, because you guys really are the cultural leaders.
Absolutely, because some of the things that we,
No, that's okay, Commissioner.
some of the things that we see is, corrective action, disciplinary action, those sorts of things. And in HR, you probably know as well as I do, those are the things that tail the legal line. We have to make sure that we're empathetic in addition to following rules, regulations, laws, and those sorts of things. And not handling things properly at a lower level as they escalate can cause bigger problems, resulting in bigger spends to address those problems. So we really want to get to the grassroots level, ensuring that people are being empathetic and understanding the needs of their employee base. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you.
If I could add on to that, when it comes to training, obviously Shannon covered the gamut of training.
The
I'm
microphone.
sorry. Shannon did cover the gamut of training and how we do have an opportunity to transition a lot of our employees from peer to boss, because that's kind of how we have a succession plan. But we are also putting monies, and it's here listed, in the Leadership Resource Center. So it's not just the training, but we want to ensure that they have the tools and the resources where they can become more informed and independent as leaders.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions? If there's no other questions, we want to thank you for your presentation tonight.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next presenter is on economic development. On pages 101 to 103 in the budget book. We have with us this evening Mr. Kevin O'Connor, and he will introduce those who will be at the table with him, please. And please remember to speak into the mic.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Introduce
everyone. Yes, thank you. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for the invitation to come and present tonight. With me here today, I have my CFO, Amy Thompson, who's the CFO of your IDA, your CRC, the Albany Business Development Corporation, as well as the newly formed Albany County Pine Hills Land Authority. And to my right is a fantastic new hire that you recently approved, Anne Marie Salmon, who's the Director of Planning, Environmental Conservation, and Sustainability. And Cam, I'll let you introduce yourself. Or need you no introduction?
Yeah, I'm Kevin Sagan, Director of Policy for Albany County.
Thanks. Madam Chairman, just in the effort of saving time, I've asked one of your colleagues to hand out our semi-annual report. Every year we do an annual and a semi-annual report to keep you abreast of all the things we're doing. In addition to that, I've updated some of those, and just to give you a little thumbnail sketch, year to date, we've got projects that represent $337 million, over $337 million, representing 1,775 jobs, and which is reflected in some 56 projects. As you know, we now manage 5 agencies, as was called for in the strategic plan the county executive had commissioned back in 2019, and we've brought all of those programs into compliance and have a great record with the state regulators as far as meeting our required regulatory findings. So if there are any other questions, I think Anne Marie, since there's no county staff on the economic development side, I think Anne Marie and Cam will respond to all of the personnel-related questions. Okay. If there are no other questions for me, I turn it over to Anne Marie to.
So as Kevin mentioned, I am managing the planning side, and I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to present our department's budget today. So as you know, Albany County is at a pivotal moment for its growth under the leadership of the county executive, the legislature, and in partnership with the Alliance. So I want to talk about our budget. I think the big headline that you'll see is the personnel. We are building out a planning function and adding 4 staff positions. So this planning function will balance economic development, environmental sustainability, smart growth, and advances the quality of life for residents. Historically, there's been one urban planner staffed, and really that function and that person has focused on development plan review. We have a very active county planning board, and that individual was pretty much full-time doing development plan review. But with the aggressive and laudable agenda of this body and the county executive, we really need to look at building out the planning function. So we will be adding several staff members. I'll go through what they're going to do in a few minutes. But in 2026, our main focus, beyond continuing the development plan review, will be working on a comprehensive plan for the entire county. This will be built with public input, working with you, working with the various municipalities, working with members of the public through workshops. We want to define that vision and outline strategies for land use, housing, transportation, sustainability, things like that, and really it can serve as a roadmap for our future growth of this county. So we want to have a guiding document to help with decision making, ensure alignment on our zoning and planning policies, and really help get with our local municipalities, working with the state as well. So this is going to be our big project for next year. And a little bit more about the staff positions. We are adding a deputy director position, and that position will really lead the comprehensive plan, but also manage the office and supervise the other technical planning staff, as well as build relationships across the county. So right now, we meet our peers at conferences, we know people in the planning world, but I would say that we're not necessarily able to attend all of the local planning meetings or really keep tabs on what all of our participating municipalities are working on and provide that support. So the deputy can help sort of bridge that relationship and be the county leader in planning. We also are adding a senior planner who will have the technical expertise to support all the projects, but also will really take on that full-time role of the development plan review for the planning board. For a sense of context, year to date, we have almost 150 site plan, development plan, zoning plan changes submitted to the board, and those are long plans with a lot of document review, so it is a full-time job. We'll probably have about 175 by year end of 2025. In addition, we're adding a confidential secretary who would manage correspondence, all of our memos, all of the walk-ins, the phone calls, helping with the agendas. I know someone had submitted questions about, having a little more visibility into the planning board meeting materials and the minutes. With additional administrative support, we can kind of build out more of our website and communications as well to the public. So that's a bit about the staff, and I want to say in summary, this really builds the team that we need, I think, to position Albany County as a leader in this space. I think we have an ambitious agenda, and we really need the planning team to support on that kind of all of the baseline things that we need to do to help the Alliance do their jobs, to help us become that really transformative county. That is all I have, so we'll take some questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Demolowitz.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This question would be for Kevin. This budget contains $125,000 in operational funding for the Alliance. Could you speak how the future at the operation going forward, that the Alliance wouldn't rely on the funding?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part, Mr. Chairman.
Just what's your plans on going forward in the future about the Alliance being self-sustaining?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, as it was pointed out in the county executive strategy, we were looking for a source of, as Mr. Demolowitz said, of recurring revenue. Through your good graces, we were able to achieve that in the way of securing a portion of the hotel tax, and we're looking forward to being a recipient of the so-called Airbnb tax coming up. But in addition to that, we derive revenue from management agreements that we have with all of the 5 entities that we manage. Mr. Demolowitz chairs the CRC, Capital Resources Corporation, and we use that as well. Going forward, I would hope that some of our real estate developments, as we bring them into, private hands, that we might receive development fees or some kind of ongoing revenue stream. So, in addition, as opposed to the $500,000 a year we used to get from the county, it's been dropped to 125, and I think that's reflective of this recurring revenue that we now receive, which will, ensure the alliances work in perpetuity.
Thank you. Can you briefly discuss the metrics you use in your department to define your success, the program? What metrics you use?
There's, our activities, again, go back to our strategic plan. We try not to be all things to all people. We focus on some strategic industries that through our strategy we know are the highest value to the county, namely semiconductor supply chain companies, pharmaceutical, alternative energy manufacturing, and the like. And in all of those, we focus on the total project cost, the amount of money that the company would be investing in Albany County, the number of jobs that would be created by such an endeavor, and the amount of funds that we would be supporting into that we would be supplying into a particular project.
Could you tell me, are there any salaries for non-union employees over 3% in your department?
No.
So there is a natural resource planning line that is currently occupied but will be vacant in January as a staff member moves into the deputy position. And that was given a little bit of a larger increase. And I think this is a specialized, it's the natural resource planner, it's specialized in the sciences, requires a master's is preferred, and it is doing a lot of the technical review on environmental quality work, resource planning. So we're trying to put a salary that's competitive and will help us attract and retain some skilled staff in that position. And it's in line with, I'd say, what the market bears for a position of that nature.
Thank you. Thank you, Major.
All right, thank you. Cam, did you have a presentation, or you're there to answer questions?
I'm here just to assist with answering questions that may come up based on the questions that we've received so far.
All right, thank you. Could you do this for me? Please highlight planned programming for 2026, the STAGE Act, the Pine Hills Land Authority, Workforce Development, and the offshore wind.
Yeah, well, many of those topics are addressed in the report, but Madam Chairman, let me just briefly respond. The single largest opportunity that we had in Albany County was the offshore wind manufacturing. We had over $2 billion of investment interest in the ports of Albany and Queens, and in one fell swoop, it was wiped out overnight by the new administration down in Washington. Everything came to a grinding halt, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. Luckily, the project that we did in 2023, Plug Power, was spared the knife. The hydrogen tax credit, Plug Power is in the business of manufacturing hydrogen fuel cells. We located them up in Vista Technology Park with about 1,600 employees. Hydrogen has so far survived any of the cuts by the federal government, but that's still to be determined. It's this College of St. Rose, just briefly, we're going through the land use, the master planning process. We expect that to be done by the end of November, a very accelerated standpoint, a very accelerated time frame. And then the hard part starts of actually implementing that plan. And by that I mean developing those buildings for private use to pay down the debt that we took out to purchase the campus in the first instance. And just to give you an update, a brief update on the central warehouse, we're working very hard to get all our permits in place. We're working with the New York State Department of Labor to get our asbestos permits. And there's some back and forth going on there, but we expect that we're doing a walkthrough of the building on Thursday of this week with the Department of Labor, and we expect that to resolve any outstanding issues and have the permits done. We're still, after that's done, we then continue to work with Amtrak and meet all of their requirements. As you know, the Amtrak rail line is immediately adjacent to the southern end of the warehouse, and there are special precautions that have to be taken to ensure the continuity of the Amtrak train station.
All right, are there any other questions from any members of the committee? Excuse me?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Kakis?
Did you, she mentioned workforce development and the line has been zeroed out, and I was just wondering, you mentioned it in your strategies as something that's important, but.
Yeah, thank you, legislator. So the money that you're referring to that was placed in the budget for last year was based on conversations we were having with Hudson Valley Community College. Because of the leadership change, that we had to sort of pivot. There was sort of a lack of interest on the other party based on those conversations. So what we did instead was focus that money on a continuation of the current contract we have with the Workforce Development Board, bless you, where it was a re-entry workforce development program, so we're continuing that. And then we sort of pivoted on that project to focus on some of the other youth prevention, mentorship, leadership programming. So it's not to say that we aren't using that money for workforce development, but the plan for it had changed a little bit.
Thank you. All right, thank you. All right, are there any other questions from, okay, Ms. Elliott?
Mr. Arcott, you had briefly touched on the Stage Act in the central warehouse. So in the budget, it looks like there's a significant increase in the central warehouse line. However, like the housing trust, the arts and culture, public safety, all those initiatives seem to have either no funding or a significant decrease. Are we, I guess, are those no longer initiatives we're pursuing in 2026?
So I believe, and the commissioner can check my logic here, but the money that you're seeing in the Restore New York, that is just all the funding between the grants that we've received plus the encumbered ARPA money. So we're not really adding money to that, that's just money being carried over, and the plan to use that is still the same. When it comes to the Housing Trust Fund, that money is also being encumbered. We actually have right now over 1.2 million being encumbered from 24 into 25. So we're going to have to, we will be using that. We are in conversations with the chair's office on what the quote unquote Housing Trust Fund, affordable housing initiative looks like. But so as far as the priorities goes, there's no really changing the priorities here. It's just what is presented right here in the book.
Thank you.
Did I cover all of the other questions?
Yeah, because there's the arts and cultural support and the public safety collaboration and the Albany County Improvement Initiative. I'm assuming that's all the same.
Yeah, so for the arts and culture funding, there was a slight decrease from the 250,000 that was allotted from last year, and that's just sort of reflective of, you know, more conservative spending given what we're probably going to be experiencing in the next couple of years due to the federal government. The public safety collaboration, I'm actually not entirely sure which that one, I would have to get back to you on the public safety collaboration.
Now, are there any?
Yeah, and then the stage is also the same with the encumbrances, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from, okay, okay. Miss Susan Larilliard and then Ella Rosano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to first say I'm very excited about your planning initiatives. I think you're long overdue, and I think our county residents will really benefit from the comprehensive planning and also the attention to additional technical staff and hiring measures. So congratulations for that. I had one question, and that's on page 225, the planning board. the planning board, and I just had a question. What were it's indicated there's a $10,000 fees for services, and I was wondering what that was about.
Yeah, so I asked my team about this before the hearing, and this is money to really support the planning board's activities. So we use it to offer trainings. I know we had a training, a regional training last Friday, and 2 of our planning board members attended. It's if they need any supplies or special, consulting fees to do their work, but we really, that's a small line item to further the business that they have. And then, if that needs to go over time, we will work with you, but it's been sufficient.
Thank you.
Ms. Rosario?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to echo Ms. Villiers' comments about the comprehensive plan. My concern is how will the members of the comprehensive plan be chosen? And it said that you're going to be letting the community know. How will that be done? If you have any numbers of how many people will be on the comprehensive plan board or committee?
Yeah, so it's still early stages. We have applied for a New York State Department of State grant for this, and it's a very competitive grant, but we do have some funding set aside either way. So we're going to wait to see if we win that grant. It should be announced in a couple of weeks, and that will really determine the full scope. And if we don't win the award, we'll probably kind of just do a smaller scope and then continue applying for other grants. But I think you're right, the first phase is figuring out the steering committee of this, and I will be working with the county executive's office, with the leadership in the ledge to kind of figure out how we're going to drive that. And then we would also be pulling in people in planning functions across the county in various municipalities. But I envision the first stages are getting that steering committee together, then we would do kind of an assessment review of all of the different assets in the county, different types of land uses, things like that, like do this data stage. And then we would be doing a series of workshops, most likely with the public, similar to some of the other public engagements you've been seeing. But I mean, we would be obviously open to meeting and working with anyone who's interested in. I think this is a big table, a big tent project to hear all ideas and then work on that kind of prioritization together.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question, if that's okay.
Okay.
In your paperwork here, it said there's no money set aside for training. And you just mentioned some employees that go into training. And for the conservation piece of this, I think training is crucial. I mean, things change so quickly. Regulatory, even like with some of the plants that are available and shrubs that are available, now they're regulated, you can't get them. And so I think training is extremely important. That's just a minor.
Yeah, we've been using, we did a lot of the regional ones, especially if they're hosted by New York State. We are in a very unique operating environment where a lot of this is driven by state regulation and how it applies to New York counties. So a lot of it's actually free, and we're just walking up the hill or going to local colleges that host things. But I think on the off chance that we've had some that had low fees, these are typically not super high fee for at least New York State. We have been working with the planning board's budget. However, down the road, we would, we can look at if there's opportunities to go to more regional or, national conferences, but I appreciate the support on the training.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Curley?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I also love the emphasis on coming up with a comprehensive plan. Just 2 quick questions with regard to that plan. Do you envision using an outside consultant, or would you utilize the new hires solely to sort of organize the preparation?
I think it's a little bit of, it's definitely both. I think a lot of the on-the-ground organizing happens at our staff level. They know the partners, they know the community, but you typically do bring in a consulting firm to help with the analysis piece and maybe make a rubric for prioritization and lead some of the workshops. So it'll be a bit of a hybrid approach.
And then can you envision any initiatives or opportunities within this plan or recommendations that might supersede home rule? Or would it be all strictly advisory to local municipalities and towns?
I think we're going to have to wait and see what the plan comes up with, but I can't say at this point.
Thank you.
Mr. Grimm, and then Ms. Wayman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're spending a lot more on economic development than when I first got here, so that raises the expectations, and I hope you understand that. There's really 2 units we've created. One in the economic development unit for the county, and also for Advanced Albany, even though they're both heavily involved. And what I'd like is some clarity on planning and what you're doing, Kevin. Who does what and how do you coordinate? Because ultimately this is about making things better in Albany County. Although your setup is, you have an authority, basically. And you're an appointee for the county executive. How are you going to work together? Give me an example of how that might work, given that we're spending, twice as much in personnel cost for planning. So I'm really interested in hearing this.
Yeah, so I'll start off. One of the things I forgot to mention earlier when I was going through the staffing plan is this was really consistent with peer counties across the state. So some examples I didn't mention was a planning-only staff, not including the economic development arm. Like Ulster County has 8 planning employees, Saratoga County has 7 in their planning department, Rensselaer has 8, Onondaga with Syracuse has 11. A planning function is usually more than one, but I do agree it's important to use the resources wisely. I think on this side, we've really had a gap and had a lot of planning functions happening in silos, which is a missed opportunity in the county for figuring out really what those next moves should be. And a lot of this is in concert with the alliance where we might be looking at properties that the county owns or that come through the foreclosure pipeline, or looking at just land use, which is a county function, but then the economic development arm can step in and help us put things out to market if there's a project that the county really wants to do or a site we want to develop. I don't know if you want to add to that, Kevin.
No, it's, one of maybe the only benefit of being old is you remember what it used to be. And I can remember a time when Albany County's planning and economic development staff was close to 15, 20 people. So I don't think that what is being proposed now is anything out of whack. We were a little bit out of market, not having really much of any planning staff. We had Gopika, who did a wonderful job, does a wonderful job, and but we were a little bit out of step there. And I think most people will tell you it's good to have a little distance between the economic development folks and the planning folks. We're the kind of paid paradise, put up a parking lot type of people. We want to see projects happen and we want to see jobs created. But, what Anne Marie and her team is going to do will set some of the kind of parameters for how things are going to work in the county and how, we'll interact. But, Anne Marie is very active, comes to all of our meetings. She occasionally invites me to one of hers, not many, but we expect this to be, something that inures to the overall benefit of the county. It's good practice.
Your budget, how much is your budget for the authorities? Alliance.
For which group?
Advanced Albany Alliance.
Just for Alliance? About $3 million.
You've been looking for a long time to have a steady stream of
Right.
revenue. I know that's probably your top priority.
Right.
And you're a mix and match budget for getting some money from the hotel tax, which is big.
Yeah.
But also from the capital center, that money's going to flow. The only issue I have with that is we're expanding the capital center. Will that interfere with projects that maybe the MVP arena could have gotten?
I think, Bob Belber might be better to address that, but as far as I see, I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite. I think they'll complement each other and feed business back and forth. But just back on it, since Mark, you raised it, what we're trying to do is emulate what Schenectady County did with their Metroplex. They get 1% of the sales tax revenue in Schenectady County, which comes to be about $12 million a year. We don't have that here. But we're doing everything we can to emulate that, to bring all of the economic development tools under one roof, in one physical location, and try to leverage those resources as best we can to make things happen. The hotel tax was a tremendous help. The Airbnb tax, once that comes and we see how much that really is, will certainly be helpful. But, boy, what we could do if we had, $10, $15 million a year. If any of you want to see an example of what that does, go down to Mohawk Harbor in Schenectady. And I'm not talking about the casino, that's the one-off. But what they created down there on the residential front, the marina and the retail space, could have only been done with the resources of the Schenectady Metroplex. It's really quite an impressive accomplishment that they undertook. And you need resources to make those kind of things happen. I without trying to be too boastful, I would put the record of the Albany County Economic Development effort against any county in our region, or any city, or any town. We are more active, we are more successful, we created more jobs, and generated more investment in our county than any of the surrounding counties in our market.
Thank you.
Excuse
Excuse me. No. There's a lot around the table. Please. Ms. Whalen?
Oh, my questions have been asked and answered. Thank you.
Okay, very good.
Take your time.
Okay, all right. I am trying to move along. We do have like 8 more, to go. And if you can, put your questions
In writing.
in writing.
To ledge budget at albanycountyny.gov.
All right, okay, all right. Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you, Madam
presentation.
Chair.
Thank you, everyone.
And again, Ms. Salvin, congratulations. Okay, all right, so we're going to move on now to, we're going to move on to the Civic Center.
That's pages 88 to 90 in your budget.
Pages 88 to 90 in your budget book, please. Good evening, Mr. Bell. Good evening, Mr. Bell.
Good evening. And thank you to the legislature and to the chairwoman. The Civic Center has had quite a history over the last couple of years, and certainly the budget for 2026 has its own story. We're comfortable with the number that's in the budget. It calls for a net profit to the county of $1,267,207. And I apologize for not introducing. This is Jennifer Chaffee is our Director of Finance at the MVP Arena, working with Legends Global. Legends Global, by the way, is the name of the new company that now owns SMG, which we still are contracted with SMG. Albany County is. It used to be ASM Global that owned SMG. Legends actually bought ASM Global. Legends is actually owners of the New York Yankees and Dallas Cowboys, which are the key owners of Legends. And that has increased the size of the company to over 357 buildings worldwide. So we have more leverage now and more best practices and more sharing of information. I apologize for going there. So the profit that we have in the budget is $1,267,207. For us, it's a little bit different than an expense scenario for the county. We really focus on generating revenues, booking events. The difference in a given year for 2026, for example, versus prior years, which no doubt could and probably will be a question, is 2025 this year we had the CrossFit Games. And the CrossFit Games generated over $400,000 in net operating profit. Without having that on the event for next year, without having NCAA basketball, and without having some of the other things that we're having this year, 2 of which I will share are our federal tax credits that we applied for. To Jennifer's credit, the CRC tax credits brought in over $565,000, and then the adjustment that was made in conjunction with Aramark as a result of something that we found in an audit generated another $276,000. So we were able to generate revenue from those 2 issues alone of over $800,000 in 2025 that won't repeat in 2026. I bring that up only because the net operating profit of $1,267,000 is going to be probably lower than what we're forecasting for the year end of 2025. So our budget called for $1,340,000, I believe, for 2025. We're forecasting I'm projecting that that's going to be ending the year at about $1.9 million. So we're going to beat the budget in 2025 by approximately $600,000. But 2026 is going to be a little bit lower because we don't have those huge net profit events like NCAA Women's Basketball, et cetera.
Okay. All right. Mr. Demolowitz.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. A lot of the businesses downtown are complaining that there's nothing driving customers to their establishments. And they're blaming it that we don't have enough events at the center. Can you speak to that and speak to what we're doing to get more events next year?
Sure.
If we can, because we lost what you said already, but what are we doing to trying to bring those people back?
Sure. So first of all, as you may know, we lost the National Lacrosse League team, the Albany Firewolves, which was a disappointing loss, to be honest. They were not averaging the attendance that they needed to survive. Their average attendance was about 3,000 per game. The owners of the Firewolves lost, in essence, about $3 million a year for 4 years. So that $12 million just wasn't sustainable for them to keep the team here. So what does that do for us? It provides us with 9 open Saturday nights that we can go out and get more concerts. And that's what our focus is on right now. I will tell you that the months of August, September, and October have been a little bit lean for concerts. And part of the reason for that is a change in Live Nation's focus and strategy that took place, actually started earlier this year. And that is, they are pushing concert artists out into major stadiums, Major League Baseball stadiums, football stadiums. And they, by doing that, they have the headline artist, which may be, for example, a Kenny Chesney, but they'll have 3 to 4 other country artists, which in their own right could potentially be headline acts that go into arenas. And so by doing the number of stadiums that they're doing, and by more or less sucking up the arena tours that would have existed had they not caused that strategy, it's reduced the number of available artists that are playing in the arenas. So we've had very, very high up discussions between Legends Global, our company, top people, and with Michael Rapino, who is the president of Live Nation. And for next year, in 2026, we've got a large uptick in dates that we're holding now for concerts. There are a number of shows that we have confirmed that I can't announce yet, but they're big, they'll sell out, they're huge. So the changes that are taking place will help the local businesses. It'll increase the number of events that we're going to be bringing in. And we're going elsewhere besides concerts as well. For example, the Olympics are going to take place in Italy in 2026. There is a USA Olympic medalist in figure skating tour that's going to be going out. And so as our residents and the US watches the Olympics, and as we get gold medals or whatever number of medals, all of those stars are going to be out on a tour, which IMG is putting out. We have a date. We haven't announced it publicly yet, but it's a date in the end of April, immediately after the Olympics. And that's going to be exciting. I don't know if any of you remember back in the day, but we did this with gymnastics. Immediately after the Summer Olympics, we had gymnastics, and all the stars came in. In fact, you may remember the one gymnast that hurt her leg as a result of that year. Our women's team won the gold medal. We ended up bringing him in, and we had almost 10,000 people in the building. I think the same thing will happen with the figure skating. It'll be very similar. So we're going after that. We have the NCAA men's ice hockey in 2026 in March. We've got the Ring and Circus back. We've got all of the family shows that would otherwise be on an annual basis coming back. And I think you'll see an uptick in concerts as time goes on. But a lot of that, I have to say, has to do with assistance at the top of our company, which has really made some sizable changes to get the strategy turned around. There'll still be stadium shows, but even they themselves have seen some problems in getting access to Saratoga, to the amphitheater, because even those acts that normally would play the amphitheater are playing in the big stadiums. And so it's caused a decrease both in the arenas as well as outdoors. And so I think they realize themselves that it may be big money for the stadiums, but it's hurting them on their other business fronts, whether it's amphitheaters or arenas.
Are the groups traveling? Are there more groups out there that'll come to a 15,000? There's a big difference. There's a big difference between a Garth Brooks at a 90,000 and a 15,000 Shania Twain, whoever, you know?
Right. So there are many acts that are playing smaller venues that will play theaters. There are 10 to 15 big tours that are going to play arenas. Of those 10 to 15, we'll probably have 10 this coming year. And we already have some of them on sale. We have Eric Church, we have Rascal Flats. I just want to say the names and I can't, because they're not announced.
It's encouraging that you're working on it, that's all I
Yeah. But Nate Bargatze, for example, is a big comedian. Nate Bargatze came in 2 years ago. Sold out. Jimmy Fallon was a guest on his show. He's coming back, and he's already been announced. He's on sale. So I feel strong about next year as far as being able to probably beat this number. I know Jennifer's going to sit there and say, no, don't say that. But we didn't think we'd beat the $1.3 million that we have budgeted this year, but I'm confident that we're going to be probably at about $1.9 million by the time we're done.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think the businesses in downtown Albany will appreciate that we have something optimistic to look forward to in all the good work that you're doing.
Thank you. Again, we're sorry about the Powerball's leaving, but, you know, if any one of us owned a team that lost $12 million over 4 years, you're not going to be able to survive much longer.
Okay, I have a question for you. Please provide the committee with a 5-year baseline of revenues and expenses that the Civic Center, and including the payments to Albany County.
Okay. You'd like us to provide that to you?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
We can do that.
All right, are there any other questions from members? Okay, and ask a question, and
Yes, Madam Chair. Isn't our real strength is your connections, Bob? That's really the asset we have at the MVP Arena. And the stadium thing does make me a little nervous because that's somewhat new. But you are master with the operating profit. I will say that does not include the debt on the arena, so everyone to be clear. But are you worried that the Capital Center, because we're helping expand it, will that be a competition for you to put people in the MVP Arena?
No, it actually goes the other way. It actually will complement us, and it'll help us bring in even bigger events. The NCAA, for example, is now looking for more and more space for example, the volleyball, Division I volleyball championships on the ladies' side. They have the Female Coaches Association convention, annual convention, that's tied to directly hosting the championship, and it has to be in the same city at the same time. And they require a huge amount of space. The current ACC space, at about 50,000 usable square feet, would never be able to do that. The new space will. So, you know, that's one that we're actually going to seek and go after. And there are other sports organizations that we're going to go after that require the same thing. But I don't think, you know, the weightlifting that they have, a couple of events that they have booked, are not events that typically would go into an arena. They really do focus more towards convention centers. And they don't typically have a lot of paid tickets for people that go in and watch. So I don't think it's going to be any kind of a conflict or take business away from the arena.
all right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Brief and succinct.
Thank you very much. Are there any other questions? If not, we're going to move on to the next presentation. Thank you very much, Mr. Belton.
Thank you.
Okay, next one will be Parks and Rec. Pages 153 to 156, and our presenter will be John A. Bakri. Bakri John A.
Carry another one.
batteries are limited on the mics. Thanks.
Good evening. Just want to preface, I was told that I look very angry today and upset. I'm just in a lot of pain. It's kind of a procedure, so if I look angry, it's just pain. Good evening, Chairwoman Willingham, members of the Finance Committee, esteemed colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to present Recreation's proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year. We sincerely appreciate your continued support for our mission to provide inclusive, accessible, and enriching recreational opportunities. Before I proceed, I must thank the county executive for his leadership and direction, which have enabled the Department of Parks and Recreation to accomplish what it has to date. I must also thank the many excellent staff of Parks and Recreation who maintain our facilities, run our programs, and create opportunities for all residents of Albany County. Over the past year, we've made meaningful progress in enhancing our parks, expanding youth and senior programming, and strengthening partnerships across the community. We've seen record participation in many of our programs, clear evidence of the growing demand for safe, well-maintained, and engaging recreational services. This proposed budget reflects 5 strategic priorities. 1, sustaining core services. As a county and our programs continue to grow, so do the demands of our department. To maintain quality and safety of our services, we must invest in staffing. New and enhanced positions will allow us to meet community needs, reduce staff burnout, and continue delivering high-impact programs. Key positions proposed and enhanced include Program Coordinators 1 and 2, essential for developing, managing, and evaluating a wide range of departmental programs and events. County Parks Administrator oversees parks operations to ensure public space are safe, well-maintained, and environmentally responsible. Maintenance support helps meet the increasing need for upkeep and improvement of our expanding facilities. 2, investing in equity and access. Equitable access to recreation is a wise investment in community health, safety, and engagement. This is not about expanding the budget unnecessarily, but about using resources more strategically to reach more residents, especially in underserved areas. This includes expanding outreach and offering accessible programming, including growing interest in pickleball and athletic spaces indoor and out, partnering with other departments to deliver senior-friendly programs such as low-impact fitness, social events, and intergenerational activities. Addressing transportation barriers by collaborating with youth and senior service providers and deploying our own vehicles to bring programs to residents who cannot travel. 3, maintaining and improving infrastructure. Transparency and accountability are central to our infrastructure strategy. This year, we've separated our programming revenue lines specifically for hockey and Pine Hills facilities to allow more precise tracking and management. We are also working with the executive grants team to pursue funding opportunities with a focus on high-priority sites like Ann Lee Pond. Continuing the county executive's commitment to environmental responsibility by installing high-efficiency equipment to reduce operating costs and energy usage. 4, measuring performance and impact. We are implementing key performance indicators to ensure accountability and continual improvement. Metrics will focus on facility operations, which are work order completion rates, equipment uptime, and program rescheduling, personal growth, staff training in areas such as environmental safety, CPR, first aid, drone certification, and professional development. Customer satisfaction, which would be surveys, feedback, and testimonials to measure service quality. Attendance trends, tracking enrollment, wait list, and retention to identify where demand is highest and where adjustments are needed. 5, environmental stewardship. In alignment with county executive leadership on environmental issues, we are actively partnering with organizations like the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and PRISM to support invasive species management, educational programming, and public awareness campaigns. In closing, we remain deeply mindful of our fiscal responsibilities. We have implemented efficiencies wherever possible while continuing to make strategic investments that deliver long-term value to Albany County residents. We believe this budget reflects our commitment to responsible stewardship, community impact, and operational excellence. I look forward to your feedback, and I'm happy to provide any additional information you may need. Thank you. I am Bakari Jani, the Commissioner of Parks and Recreations. To my left, we have Allie Roberts, the Deputy Commissioner. To my right, Dave Riley. best man in Albany County, besides the county executive.
Okay. Wow, come up for air right now. All right. Mr. Demowitz, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Hurd, thank you for coming. Could you identify on page 156 the two new revenue sources, 100,000 with the Pine Hills facility and the hockey facilities revenue?
Cool, yeah, as I mentioned, these, and I'll let Dave probably address it briefly. These items were previously in the budget, combined together, spread out. This is just so that you have a clearer picture of the revenues coming in for these two large agencies, two large buildings.
The hockey facilities revenue, hockey used to have its own page, department.
Correct.
So you moved that into Parks and Rec?
We did.
And so the revenue is projected to be 400,000?
Correct.
What's the revenue from the hockey this year? 'Cause that's not shown anywhere.
So the hockey facility in 2025 is part of the special rec facility charge, the 575,000. We don't know it offhand. They can get you an exact number for year-to-date on the hockey facility though, so you can see where it's trending.
In the Pine Hills facility charge, those fees, that 100,000, it's just something you're projecting that you'll be able to generate the programs that you're going
Correct.
to be using as you're going through there. Okay. Can you explain the 4 positions I think you went over? I couldn't hear you too well. Did they go through the 4 new positions?
Could you, so just repeat the question?
Did you, I may have didn't hear you, but you have 4 new positions in your department. Could you just identify them and what they're going to do?
Yes, it did identify those. We're happy to come back here. So we do have the maintenance position. We have a county parks administrator, program coordinator 1, and program coordinator 2. The program coordinators will be essential for developing and managing and evaluating all the programs plus outreach. A county park administrator will be overseeing the parks, making sure that they're safe and follow all environmental rules and regulations. Maintenance support, as our buildings expand, we need more support for actually maintaining the buildings, making any on-site repairs all in-house.
The special project coordinator was eliminated.
Correct.
So that's something the park administrator is going to do that work?
Yes, that was absorbed into that role.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Could you please highlight any next year programming that are driving costs in your 2026 budget? For example, increases in safety, fees for services, recreation programming, and miscellaneous equipment lines on your budget, page 158.
Well, the largest ones that we're expecting are driving the cost are going to be related to aquatics. And so that's going to be requiring for training for water safety instructors, WSI, also with managing all the chemicals, depending on which way we go for our chemicals. So that would be storage, and also educating all of our staff how to properly store the chemicals and check balancing of any type of related materials.
Okay, all right. And the special project coordinator position was eliminated. That was correct, right? Okay. And it's going to be absorbed by existing staff or by the new park administrator role?
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, now, do we have any other questions from members? Okay, Ms. Evans.
Margaret, you had, in your presentation, said how you're improving and want to do more recreational programming, yet the funding has decreased in the budget. Do you think you have enough funding to continue the programming you have and advance?
I will always take more funding, if you're willing that one. So, but we will do as much as we can with whatever we have.
All right, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, the taxpayer's been very good to you the last 2 years. Your budget's up 69%. So the budget, can you explain that?
I would say the taxpayers has been good to all of us since we're all on the same team.
No, you're a very popular department, I understand that. But 69% is unusual vis-a-vis other departments.
We've had a lot of growth going through. We also are one of the departments that can affect and impact and work with every single department within the county. we provide services. Our numbers for all of our programming has increased over time period. The amount of programs we have increased, the amount of space and county footprint we've had has increased. So I think that is reflective of the gracious award that has been given to this department that we all benefit from.
Yeah, I just want to make the point that the increase in personnel costs, not in recreation programs, and I think there's a greater desire for more recreation programs than perhaps more personnel. Just something to consider.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Yes, Mr. Ricardo.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I just want to make a statement. You know, I appreciate everything you're doing at the County Athletic and Community Center. You know, we had an opportunity to visit. It looks great there. To my colleague's point, you know, in the city of Cohoes, one of the big things that I wanted to emphasize is getting the kids off the street. So 69%, it's well worth 69%. Hey, I'm a fiscal conservative. I believe in saving money, but you can't quantify getting those kids off the street, playing basketball, swimming. Get that pool open as quick as possible. We've discussed that a couple of times, but you know, I appreciate everything you're doing there. One of the big things, like I just said, emphasizes getting those kids off the street. 69% is well worth the money. You can't quantify those results a lot of times, but it shows up in other areas. So I just want to say I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate that comment.
Ms. LaRilliard.
Hi,
Hello.
thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being here. I'm really happy with all the programming that you've offered so far. I just had a couple questions related to senior recreation programming. You touched on a little bit. What are your plans for senior recreation programming this coming year?
We try to do as much as possible. Well, we've expanded, we have a knitting program we've expanded, but we're also a lot of intergenerational and senior socialization programs. So it'll be walking programs, as well as low impact programs that we have. So that would be chair yoga, as one as the aquatics is open. There'll be aquatics senior programming in the pool for therapy program that. We also have board games. And we're expanding some of the games that we've had for the young individuals, for the older kids of that, you know, above 18 years of age program.
So another follow-up question, and it kind of goes to what my colleague Bill Ricardo was saying. How does your budget allow for youth and transportation services so that they can be connected to recreational programming? A lot of children may not have access to reliable transportation, or we have suburban families that may not be able to attend some of your events that may be at St. Rose or further away. How are you working on that sort of thing?
Can you please repeat what her question is so we'll know what your answer is?
Sorry, I've not had it.
So I believe the question was how is our budget including transportation for individuals to attend our programming either? Pretty much correct in summary?
Yeah, like that are, you know, that don't have access to regular and reliable transportation.
So as you know, many of our residents reside either in the city of Albany or in rural areas where it might not be on the bus line. Parks and Recreation does have a few vehicles, transport vehicles, that we are planning to utilize and have utilized to actually bring our services to those residents either in rural areas or in the city of Albany, to bring them to our facilities. So that is a very important question. That's something we've had out. We're also reaching out to many different partners in the community who run programs so that, hey, we can partner with them, such as the South End Cafe, to take the attendees of their programs to bring them to our facilities, such as the hockey facility, Lawson's Lake, to get them out and experience, because these programs are essential to giving those exposure. And we don't know if we expose one of these children to certain programs, what ripple effect that will have down the years. So that goes to the funding for our programs and the impact that we have, not only today, but tomorrow and to generations to come.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Curley.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. My district borders on Schenectady County, and whenever I cross the border, I'm always struck, impressed by the number of preserves, nature preserves, forest preserves that Schenectady County operates. I was recently out in Rochester, and I was really struck by just the scope and beauty of Monroe County's park system and the way it impacts. And really, a lot of people in Monroe County, their primary interface with their county government is through their parks department. and it's created, very satisfied constituents. We heard earlier about how Albany County compares with our peer counties relative to economic development activities. I wonder if you could give us a sense of how Albany County compares in terms of scope, infrastructure, physical and operational, in terms of parks with other peer counties in New York State.
I think we're at the top of the line, and also we have room to improve, and we are improving. And we have seen some of those areas that you mentioned as examples, and we have the ability to match them and to exceed them. Recently, I had a friend from out of town, and I took him to Anley Pound. And immediately getting out of the parking lot, we were transformed to a different place. Did not know we were still in Albany. Walking around peaceful, we got to see waterfowl, we got to see the leaves changing. Albany County is very unique, where we have urban and rural parks, which not many other places have. And so we have the opportunity to capitalize on the resources that we have to be the shining light, not only of this county, this region, but possibly in the country.
All right, thank you. Ms. Rosano?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hi, I was just wondering, what is the Lure Library?
The Lure Library is a great initiative. I would be remiss, I think I wouldn't do it justice. I don't know if there's any anglers out there, but as well, you want to speak about the Lure Library? Ali played a great, large role in the Lure Library, which is,
The Lure Library was recently installed, built from the bottom up by a Boy Scout. It's essentially a centralized place for fishermen and women or whoever wants to fish to have a lure that they can utilize if they don't have their own. He still continuously checks in on it. If there's nothing in there, he has a very large donation bin that he will refill it with. But that was all created by him, and he did a wonderful job with that project. Yeah.
and I would just like to add, so the Lure Library is kind of like a free library.
Yeah.
And it's just an immense resource, as getting access to a lure is an expensive option for fishing, for angling. And just to provide this resource for somebody that might be a first-time fisherman, this might be the difference between catching the big catch and having that story out there for years as something you could tell your family and share from time on, versus just being able to put a worm on the end of a hook. You can actually use a well-designed lure that's specific for the fish you're going after.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Petto?
Thank you. Could you please explain the graph that is on page 154? It appears that the hockey facility has a year-to-date facility use of averaging 11 hours per month. That doesn't seem right, so there must be something else to this chart that I'm not understanding. The others all are building up, but which is great to see this many facilities in use, but.
Well, so as you see with the hockey facility that you brought out in this, it's broken out into multiple parts. So that is specifically hockey facility multi-purpose room, the hockey facility itself, hockey facility pickleball courts as well. So all that is combined. So it would be more than just 11 hours.
But those are even, the hockey facility and the pickleball courts are even lower. So it would seem like those would.
Yeah, maybe we'll check and see how it does, because we implemented the data. We didn't create the chart itself. But I can see, but the hockey facility is a booming facility.
Yeah.
And it goes until late at night. And there's a long reservation for pickleball, so.
They're there when the lights are on and it's dark out. But it gets utilized until like 9 p.m.
Be prepared to wait in line if you want to get there. So you'll be waiting more than 11 hours, I'll tell you that.
For sure, more than 17 hours.
Yeah. So we'll have to see.
Which is what's on this chart.
Yeah, the legend may have been left off on the chart saying that, but
Okay,
multiplied by 10.
Thank you. I'm gonna say this. If we spend 30 minutes on each one, y'all wanna go home at 11 o'clock? Okay, so I don't want you to get upset with me if I'm cutting you off.
No cookies.
I would like to reserve a cookie now.
But I'm just keeping track of time, and you'll thank me later on your way home. Okay? So,
Very quick question.
very quick, and our last question.
Last question. Do you have plans next year
to run the adult Dungeons and Dragons program again?
Yes, we plan to run it, expand upon it, and also take any suggestions to improve it.
There is one scheduled right now.
If you need a referee, you can give me a call.
We will call you. You were in the last one, right?
Yeah, I know I had a great time at the Gilderton Library session you did. So,
We have one currently running at St. Rose, and there is one to schedule to run in St. Rose in the new year also. I can send you the information.
please do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're just gonna take a break right now, 5 minutes, everybody. Thank you very much. I want to give a shout out to Matt Miller for the pizza.
He's always wanted a sovrano.
Now that we've gotten our energy back and our brains are working, we're going to move on to the water purification, which is found on pages 251 through 257 in your budget books. And Angelo Guardio is the executive director.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. The district and the Board of Commissioners feels that the proposed 2026 budget adequately estimates the district's needs for next year.
That's
Is that
it?
better?
I like it.
Yes, that's better.
All right. So one of our continued challenges is the maintenance of legacy and antiquated equipment. We've been dealing with quite a bit of emergency work over the last several years. So our focus really for the next couple of years is to really progress our capital program to the point where we can replace these systems. We have a number of systems that are original to the facility, so this dates back to the early 70s. It's creating some challenges in terms of operation, both for staff. A lot of the systems are not automated. There's a lot of manual operations. A lot of labor is going into maintaining certain systems. So again, our focus is really to get these systems replaced as quickly as possible through the capital program to really minimize our expenses with emergency work, which unfortunately is something we've been kind of losing that battle with over the last couple of years. To that end, I'll just bring up the subject of odors. Obviously, that's been pretty evident in the press and obviously in the public. A lot of the systems that we are proposing to replace under the sludge processing improvement project that we're currently under design with will help mitigate those odor concerns. We are in design now. We're expected to have that design completed by next year, and then we will be moving forward with construction. Likely the beginning of 2027. We still do have to go through Department of Environmental Conservation and Environmental Facilities Corporation reviews for those programs or for that work. We did have a meeting with the new regional director for DEC last week. I think DEC's, I guess, in agreement with kind of our immediate need, and I think they'll be willing to work with us going forward to hopefully expedite some of these reviews. That sludge project, just for some kind of timeline context, we had that project submitted to DEC back in 2022. We just received approval for that in March of this year. So that's been some of the issues in terms of kind of delays, and obviously that's kind of been resulting in some of the ongoing odor complaints. We have done quite a bit to address odors on an interim basis. We've changed out some equipment that we thought would help in terms of reducing air rates into those sludge tanks, which are believed to be the cause of the odors. We also attempted a chemical pilot earlier this year, back in July. Unfortunately, that was a system that proved not to be effective, and we're currently in discussions with another chemical vendor right now to see if there's something that we can kind of do on an interim basis to just, again, alleviate or kind of mitigate some of the ongoing issues. So that's kind of where we are. Except as I mentioned, we've been having good conversations with both DEC and EFC as it relates to our needs, and again, I think they're fully aware of kind of where we are and kind of will hopefully be a helpful partner in kind of getting us through the review process. As it relates to staffing, the district has seen an improvement in recruiting. A lot of that has to do with efforts that civil service has made over the last couple of years. So I know Hannah's in the crowd, so I want to thank her and her team for helping us fill some positions. We still are challenged with staff retention. Obviously, we have a lot of people doing dirty jobs, and it's just difficult to kind of retain some folks in that industry. As for new positions, new titling, we basically are looking to create 4 new positions with our process operator titles. So we currently have 4 process operator titles, starting at the entry level. Our process operator 1s, our entry level escalates to a process operator 2, a PO2 assistant above that, and a 3. There's some overlap in terms of the 2 assistant title and the 2, so we're looking to eliminate that 2 assistant and graduate those folks up into a process operator 3. So the plan would be to take 4 of those 8 positions, move them into the 26 budget, into the 3 position, and then we would do the same thing for 27. The total salary cost increase of consolidating those titles for 26 is $45,764. We also are looking to add a millwright position. This would be more of a skilled position to help out with some of the fabrication and repair work that we have ongoing. And the salary for that is $75,500. So in total, between the 5 positions, that's a salary increase of $121,264. As it relates to charge-out rates, again, we are an enterprise fund, so our operating expenses are funded 100% from the revenues that we do take in. Right now, we are looking at a 5% rate increase to the 8 communities that we serve. And again, we are going to be moving money out of our fund balance in the amount of $1.5 million to, again, move some of the capital work forward. We are seeking financing through Environmental Facilities Corporation, but that money will hopefully allow us to move some of the design work forward until we can get the closing from Environmental Facilities Corporation in place. And I will say, as I'm looking at Rebecca, special thank you to both Rebecca and Brandon for their help in securing some EFC financing for our sludge project. Had a little bit of a kind of issue with them earlier this year, and both of them were really instrumental in getting us the approvals necessary to secure not only the financing, but also the $25 million grant that we have assigned to that project, so thank you. And then,
Yes, Mr. Demolowitz.
Thank you. Could you discuss any of the non-union raises, anything over 3%?
the only one right now is actually my title, that's 4%, that was as recommended by the county exec's office.
And the county executive put you in for the raise?
Yes, I did not do that myself.
You didn't
yes.
ask for it?
No.
Nice. The vacancies, what are you doing to try to recruit more people to come in to work with you?
Actually, again, with Civil Services Portal, that's actually helped a lot. Again, we do have a number of vacancies, so again, if anybody at this table knows of anybody, have them put in an application. Again, we are pursuing applications through the Civil Service Portal. We are also leveraging Indeed quite a bit. Again, I will say over the last year, we've actually gotten quite a bit of resumes in. Obviously, we've seen some activity just through job fairs that Civil Service and HR have been involved in as well. So that's also helped in terms of just driving applications, through our department.
Now, can you, I don't know, maybe you said this, so please highlight your key capital improvements or projects?
Sure. So we have a total of 4 capital improvements. In total, just over $180 million. Again, that's programmed for a 5-year increment. The first is our sludge processing improvement project. The cost of that is $65 million. Again, we are seeking financing through EFC. We are planning on closing on that financing package later this year. That includes a $25 million grant, as well as there's ARPA money associated with that project and the cost of $3.5 million. And then we also are anticipating getting 0% financing loan for another $25 million to EFC. And then the remaining balance of that would be at a subsidized rate through EFC, which is 50% of the market rate for borrowing. Project 2 is our North Plant Process Improvement Project. That has a total cost of $72.5 million. We applied for a WIA, Water Improvement Act grant through EFC earlier this year, as well as a Water Quality Improvement grant through DEC earlier this year. We're expecting those results to be out maybe January timeframe, so hopefully we'll be successful in securing additional grant monies for that. Similarly, our South Plant Process Improvement Project has a cost of $41 million, and again, we applied for those same grants. So again, we're optimistic we'll be successful in securing additional grants as we move forward. And then our smallest project is a HVAC upgrade project, which has a dollar value of $1.5 million. Again, we did move money from our fund balance into our capital funds in the amount of $1.5 million for next year. So we are looking to progress the design on both the north and the south process improvement projects.
thank you. Mr. Miller?
On the miscellaneous revenue, can you just explain and maybe differentiate between the first two lines there, the scavenger waste and the biosolids?
Yeah, so simply put, the scavenger waste is for septage and grease, so this would be kind of your grease trap waste the restaurants have. And then the second, the biosolids, is sludge. So we do take in sludge from several municipalities in the area, the largest one being Bethlehem. So we take in their liquid sludge. So that's really the distinction. It's just, and there's a cost differentiation between the two.
This biosolids one too, but on the scavenger waste, those waste oils, companies can do that, or is it from municipalities?
It's either, yeah, most of it's like private haulers that come in.
So they go collect all that waste oil and they...
Yeah, and then one of the systems that we're, optimistic for under the sludge improvement project, so that's the capital, we are looking at a fats, oils, and grease processing system, so that will allow us to take in that grease trap waste, process it, and then essentially sell that for additional revenue. I think right now we're projecting an estimated $500,000 in additional revenue once that system is constructed and online. Because we take quite a bit. We get like 20,000 gallons of grease a day.
So just to qualify, that revenue that we're seeing now from that is from what we're taking in, not necessarily from what we're selling. We're not selling biosolids to anybody, we're not selling that.
No. It's all everything that we're taking in from those haulers and from those communities.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Grimm?
On page 256 on the bottom, it looks like the total appropriations proposed are actually less than last year.
256. Yeah, I believe that's because of encumbrances that were carried over. It wasn't the base budget, it was basically monies that had not been spent. I think that's...
But you're still, your revenue is more than that, so you're actually giving revenue, the county's gaining revenue, $3 million?
Yeah, so we're just so we're clear, like we're budget neutral, so our revenues that were coming in should equal our expenses coming out. So in terms of the appropriations, I think part of our expenses go back to the county, so we're one of the few departments that actually pays the county back.
That's good to hear.
Yes, so I think that difference is that number in terms of the delta there at the bottom.
No wonder you're getting a raise. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Yes, Ms. Plotsky?
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question. Overtime, it's about $450,000. Do you think that would be ameliorated as you're able to fill positions?
Yeah, that's been the hope. I mean, we have not been successful in getting all our positions filled. The majority of our overtime is actually from our process operators. So again, because we're a 24/7 facility, it's really coming from those folks. And again, because we're short-staffed, we've got a lot of people working overtime. The one silver lining of that is that, again, the benefit number is a little bit less because we don't have the personnel. But again, we've been able to make that up annually as a budget neutral adjustment because again, we've been taking those vacancies on the salary lines and applying them to the overtime. So it's not like we're exceeding it.
But are those guys burning out? Are you starting to see burnout from them?
Yeah, I think that's a concern. Again, we've done quite a bit over the last year, especially to kind of fill some of those. I would say a couple of years ago that was a concern for us, and then we had gone through a period of time where we probably lost about 35% of our legacy staff and retirements. So there was a lot of green folks coming in, so there were some challenges over the last couple of years, honestly, since COVID. So.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Lane?
Just on that line, where would people necessarily look to become aware of these positions being available? I mean,
they're on the civil service website. Everything that we've got posted is active on that website.
Would it be at all helpful to put it out in local newsletters and municipalities, or?
That's something we haven't tried. I mean, I'll be open to anything, so if that's something. I know those folks are trying to find their own people too, so I don't know how receptive they would be to kind of advertising for us, but certainly something I would try. And we had also reached out to BOCES too. We were trying to get something on their career board as well, so we're still trying to work through that with them currently.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have any more questions? If not, we're going to move on. Thank you very much, Ms. Scott.
Thank you. All right, good night.
Okay, our next presentation is information services found on pages 141 and 142 in your budget book. Mr. Birkin is our Deputy Chief Information Officer, and he is our presenter tonight.
Center? You show. Okay. Sounds like fun.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Dave Birkin. I'm your Deputy Chief Information Officer. Beside me is Susan Gross, an integral part of our office, and I think a lot of you are familiar with her great work. Unfortunately, our CIO, our Chief, Pat Alderson, can't be here tonight. He's out of town, so he got me. Thank you to the County Executive, the Commissioner of Management and Budget, and the Legislature for your consideration of the Division of Information Services organizational restructuring and for your continued investment in technology for Albany County departments, employees, and the residents we serve. The Division of Information Services is essential to the county's modernization. We're responsible for meeting rising public expectations for fast, digital, 24/7 services. To succeed, we must replace legacy systems with modern tools while placing a stronger emphasis on cybersecurity. Our proposed organizational restructuring is driving the overall 9% increase in the 2026 budget. As shown in our submitted org charts, we propose creating 6 net new positions, about a 20% increase to our team. These roles will strengthen our capacity in cybersecurity, department portfolio management, business process reengineering, networking, and administration. We are also advancing cybersecurity by implementing a secure browser, network topology mapping, application management, and backup power systems management tools. Project priorities for coming year include modernizing and securing our network, building towards a zero trust framework with real-time threat detection, supporting staff development with a clear career ladder and new operational roles, sharpening the county's data strategy through accessible dashboards, integrating systems like HR, legal, tax, and permitting to improve both resident and staff experiences. With these new positions, we'll invest in IT training to boost productivity and ensure staff can effectively leverage technology. We'll continue device refreshes, support a mobile-first workforce, and re-engineer business processes to reduce paper, automate workflows, and connect disparate systems. In closing, the Division of Information Services stands at the center of Albany County's ability to modernize how we serve residents. These investments aren't just about technology, they're about strengthening the foundation every department relies on to deliver fast, secure, and reliable services. Through this budget, we're building the capacity to protect our systems, modernize our infrastructures, and equip our workforce with tools and talent needed for the future. Your continued support ensures technology is not a barrier, but a catalyst for better government and stronger communities. Thank you for your time and commitment to this vision.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm going to start with a question. What strategic direction is the department taking to position Albany County to maintain its IT operations and cybersecurity for the future?
That is a complex question, and you may want us to answer that in writing, if that is okay.
That's fine. Okay.
With Pat being out of town also, you probably want to hear his perspective too, but we are doing quite a bit, to be perfectly honest with you.
So we're in good hands?
I think so.
Okay, very good.
We're working hard.
Okay, questions? Okay, Mr. Demowitz.
Thanks, Sam. Could you just tell me in comparison of your overtime line and your call pay, 130, 120,000, what's the difference?
So on-call pay, unfortunately, we've turned into a 24/7 operation, okay? We are getting calls all the time. So we have to have staff regularly available to answer the phones when people off hours have issues and needs. There's literally not a business process in Albany County that isn't compute-oriented in one way, shape, or form. So, people at the jail, people at the nursing home, they're relying on systems for a life safety perspective 24/7. We have to be there to answer the call. Overtime is for when there are major projects that are hitting that require a lot of extra hours and weekends. And to be honest, we have utilized that less than we anticipated, but it is there for emergency situations mostly. So,
Okay. Could you
and
discuss,
unfortunately, there are those that can occur in our line of business, so.
could you just discuss the update in the county strategic technology plan?
I'm sorry, sir, could you repeat, please?
The update in the county strategic technology plan.
Technology.
Technology plan for next year. Thank you. I had too many cookies.
Yeah,
That's what I said.
I should have had more cookies.
They're delicious.
May I answer that in writing at a later time?
Thank you.
Because that is going to be a complex question. And I think also, if it's security-oriented questions, you probably would rather have those in writing than broadcast on YouTube later, so, in my mind.
Yes, sir. So are there any questions that you can ask anyone that will not require?
Well, there won't be a written response, no.
All right.
Thank you,
Go
Madam
ahead,
Chair.
Mr. Burke.
6 new positions, that's a big ask, but I think it's really needed, because the threats on security now are just nonstop, not just from somebody, in his basement in Iraq, but from Putin and from everybody else.
Correct.
One of the things we were talking about privately, David, you guys are so concerned with security that as a consumer, it's getting more and more difficult to use your computer. I lost my baby. And your team stepped in this afternoon, just before our meeting, which I appreciate.
That's what we're there for.
But how do you manage, this is one of the biggest challenges, how do you manage to keep it simple enough that people use it? Some people, they won't use it because it's got to have this and that and this, and 6 things to get in. So what's the strategy to manage enough security that you keep the rats out, but let the consumers in?
So that's a changing target, sir, for sure. And we are, there is always going to be that balance of security and accessibility. And you do have to balance that out. The easier we make it, the easier we make it for outsiders to get in. And as you point out, you pick up your cell phone, you are literally on the front lines. You might as well be standing in the middle of a war zone because the bad guys are out there. But what are we doing? We're doing a lot. I think we're doing a lot of training. We have a lot of training on our plan for this year. We are looking to hire a trainer, which is the first time in a long time, to get county employees better up to speed, and we are utilizing other services. But we cannot lower our security posture.
And you have the help desk where you actually get a human, which is, you get a human being when you call the help desk.
We do. I don't think we can replace them with AI yet. So you're going to get humans, and hopefully you're going to get the best humans we can find. And yes, we do have some growth in our department. I wish I could tell you this is our last year we're going to ask for growth, but it might not be. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Yes, Mr. Morio.
Thank you. This is just a quick question. You can provide this in writing as well. I was just looking at the new positions that you placed in the budget.
Yes, sir.
I see a business relations manager.
Yes.
What would that person be doing in an information services department?
So, I don't know how to put this other than to tell you that there is not a business process going on in Albany County, or there's very, very few business processes that are not IT related in some way, shape, or form. We need to change and develop our structure of how our business analysts are working so that they are better coordinated. So that function will assist in
What would be an example?
What would be an example? I mean, so that person will be coordinating the analysts and make sure that they are passing along the proper information to the departments is maybe a good example, and taking concerns. And oftentimes we'll hear of issues happening in one particular business unit, a need in one particular business unit, but other business units will have similar needs, and we have to coordinate those needs together to gain efficiencies and economies of scale and so forth.
Okay.
Does that help, sir?
Okay, yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. Are there any more questions for Mr. Bergman? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
Our next presenter will be Civil Service, found on page 91 in your budget book. Civil Service, found on page 91. And our presenter is Hannah Black.
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, members of the legislature, thank you for the opportunity to discuss my 2026 budget. I am Hannah Black, the Director of Civil Service. My 2026 budget includes a new position, that being Talent Acquisition Specialist, as well as an increase to our fees for services line. Please note that recruitment is still a relatively new function for my department. We were tasked with that duty in 2024. It has become clear as time goes on that to recruit and to recruit well, we need an individual whose main responsibility is recruitment and sourcing talent for the county's pipeline, as well as market the county as a desirable workplace. Additionally, to expand our robust recruitment efforts, I have proposed an increase to our fees for services line to allow for physical advertisements and marketing campaigns. This is a unique time for local governments. It's a better time than ever to obtain public sector employment. Under the New York Helps program, the biggest barrier to public sector employment, that being the civil service exam, has been removed. So it is a prime opportunity to get out there and recruit, and these funds will help us do just that. And open it up to questions.
Okay. Yes, Mr. DeMalo.
I'd just like to know what a talent acquisition specialist does.
Helps acquire talent. They are, he attends, the individual that is performing this function attends job fairs, is out in the community meeting with candidates, helping connect them to county positions. As I mentioned, helps market the county as a desirable workplace, speaks about the benefits, not so much the HR benefits, that would rest more with the Department of Human Resources. But all in all, he is looking for that talent.
More like a recruiter.
It is it's buzzwords for recruiter. It just sounds better.
In your fees for services, does it increase? Could you just explain what the increase is on the $100,000 this year?
Yes, so last year we had 63,300. This year, I am hoping to have physical advertisements, maybe billboards, bus advertisements with CDTA, and a marketing campaign. We really would like to have a robust marketing campaign.
Good, great, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, do I have any other questions from members? Okay, Ms. Awicz.
In regards to the New York Health Program, is there an estimate of when that may sunset? And the second part of that question is, for municipalities that hire under New York Health, will a test be required at some point in time?
No. Okay, so good questions. The New York Helps program is planning on sunsetting 6/30/2026. Individuals hired under the Helps program do not have to take an exam for that position. Upon cessation of the program, those individuals that are in a Helps program, they convert to the competitive class without an examination.
Okay, thank you.
That does not mean that if they are looking to be promoted, that they will not have to down the road.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Grimm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a suggestion on the talent acquisition specialist. It's 70 grand, but it's, of course, it's more than that by the time you get your health insurance and retirement and all that. It's probably 100,000. There are an awful lot of companies out there that are really good at recruiting people. You know, you just tell them what you want, they set it up, and it pops up on the internet and this and all that. Did you consider, instead of hiring someone, hiring a company which, if they didn't really work well, you could have to try with someone else?
We did not. No, I think it's important to have an individual that is an Albany County employee that can speak to Albany County, what the experience is like working for them, and I feel you'd lose that personal touch if we were to outsource it.
I think their professional organizations can understand how to project that. So I don't know if we necessarily agree, but I agree we do need better recruiting. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Madam.
Any other questions from any other? Yes, Mr. Gillespie.
Mine is very quick. Are we reaching out to the high schools to try and bring some of the students that may not want to go and pursue higher levels of education but may want to start their employment?
Yes, yes. We have partnered with the City of Albany High School. We have attended a job fair, I think it's held in June, and that's aimed at students and families, actually. They open it up to both. And we also attend a job fair, I want to say it's once a year at one of the schools, and all of the local school districts come to that as well.
Are there any other questions? If not, thank you very much, Ms.
Thank you, and thank you again for the pizza and the cookies.
Public Works is next, and Ms. Raimondo, the Commissioner, she will be coming before us. Pages 237 through 244, and the budget vote.
Hi, good evening, Madam Chair and members of the legislature. I'm pleased to be here this evening to present and answer questions about DPW's proposed 2026 budget. The budget will meet the department's needs by increasing workforce efficiencies, automating processes, and providing the resources necessary to maintain our programs, equipment, and infrastructure. From a workforce perspective, I'm focusing on consolidating and restructuring positions to best achieve workflow efficiencies. I propose to eliminate 2 vacant clerk positions and use the savings to fund a single administrative aide position. The administrative aide will play a key role in managing our fuel system, processing permits, and administering snow and ice reimbursements. In order to provide more promotional opportunities, thank you. In order to provide more promotional opportunities for our operators, I propose to defund our stores clerk position and use the savings to fund an equipment operator 3 position. I also propose to refund 3 operator positions that were defunded back in 2020 as part of an early retirement incentive, and use a portion of those salaries to fund an operator 2 and an operator 3 position. This will result in upward mobility for our operators and will result in a savings of over $34,000. I also propose to defund our laborer line and use the savings to fund the utility person line. The job duties of both of these union positions are very similar, yet the utility person line pays more. Thus, it is more subject to being able to retain our employees. Having a higher payer line for this work will encourage retention. I propose to defund our stormwater program tech line. The required MS4 outfall inspections and facility audits will be performed by the stormwater program coordinator and our principal engineering technician. The county's portion of the annual MS4 report will be compiled by the stormwater program coordinator. Any other responsibilities that the stormwater program tech would have been responsible for will be contracted out to our on-call engineering services firm and paid for out of fees for service. Regarding department efficiencies, in 2026, DPW will implement a new online citizens concern platform. This will enable us to track citizen concerns more efficiently. We'll also implement a new online permit application form, which will streamline the permitting process and enable customers to pay online. In addition, we'll develop an online daily work log platform, which will eliminate daily paperwork and allow for more expedient tracking of labor, materials, and equipment. With the recent acquisition of a new paver, we will be taking on new paving operations along our rail trail and at our subdivision parking lots. And lastly, in an effort to continue with moving toward green infrastructure, we recently purchased an asphalt recycler. This will allow us to produce small batches of asphalt in-house to be used on roadway patches and driveway aprons. In years past, we would have to order an entire 2-ton load of asphalt from the supplier, and we would have leftovers for such things. With this new equipment, we'll be able to not only recycle our millings, but not waste material. Thank you for the opportunity to present, and I'm opening the floor to questions.
All right, thank you very much for that presentation. Can you please provide an update on any recruitment or retention issues related to vacancies?
So we fortunately have been very successful in recent months with our operators. We're nearly fully staffed with the operators, and we think with allowing for these 2 new operator 2 and 3 positions, that gives our folks that are operator 1s the incentives to stay with us for upward mobility purposes. We're having a bit of a challenge recruiting engineering positions. I proposed eliminating our director of engineering position and changing it to a junior engineering position. I've had some success recruiting with getting resumes in for junior engineers.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do you have any non-union employees above 3% raise?
I do, the commissioner and deputy commissioner, and that was not, I did not request that. I believe the deputy county exec addressed those increases yesterday.
What are the raises, the percentages?
To be honest, I didn't even calculate it. It's in the budget book.
Thank you.
5.7, 7.1.
All right, are there any questions from the members? Ms. Gillespie?
I have 2 very quick questions. What will a traffic safety instructor actually do?
So the traffic safety instructor, that's the fellow that's in charge of our car seat program.
Okay.
So you're speaking of the existing position?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Then I have another quick question. There are a couple projects that are coming out selfishly in my district that I just wanted to ask specifically about, and if they're dependent on any federal monies that may delay the project. One being the roundabout and the other one being the traffic light near Pinehurst.
Yes, so that is our New Carter Road TIP project, and it is federally funded. Up until March, we have been receiving our reimbursements. We have not been told that funding is being pulled as of today, but there is a lag in them paying us for our reimbursement as of March.
Yes, Mr. Moriello.
Are you looking for the new Cornell Road project to be started next year as far as construction?
No, sadly, it's pushed to 2027 just based on environmental concerns with the Carner butterfly.
Pine Bush.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. If there are no further questions, we want to say good night.
Thank you.
Mr. Mundo, and we're going to move forward with DGS.
Just so you guys know, the batteries are starting to die in here, so I just need you to be really close.
Save the best for last, right, Scott?
Good evening, Mr. Latina, and everyone. General Services is found on page 104 through 115 in your budget book.
Good evening, Madam Chair, legislators. I'm here with my Deputy Commissioner, Scott Allardyce, and Commissioner Latina. I believe we've put a great budget together for to serve the county as far as our plans and projects and keeping our facilities up and running. As you know, we deal mostly with the employees to make them a better working environment. We have a bare bones budget that we worked with the county executive's office, and we're pleased with it, and I think you'll be pleased with it also. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tomalowicz.
Thank you, Madam. Could you please discuss your staff organizations and titles and positions that were eliminated?
We have eliminated just a couple of positions in order to fund other positions. We eliminated a part-time laborer, which we pushed into the, for a couple of new positions as far as senior spec techs in purchasing. Those are, I believe, are the only ones that we have eliminated. Oh, and a garage attendant, I believe we have done away with. Move those monies around for other positions.
Are there any non-union members over 3%?
Yes, we have a few that were over the percentage of 3%. We did increase for direction of weights and measures and an 8% increase for weights and measures because we're creating a new deputy weights and measures position because for retention reasons, that's why we've done that. There's also, there's actually a 19% increase for Deputy Commissioner of Plans and Projects to bring him in line with the other deputy commissioners in the county and also in my department. And also, we have a 12% increase for the office manager because he does so much work that it's really not in his title. When we're short on help, he'll take over certain positions for security, also in custodial, and other jobs in the county.
What does a clerk of the works do?
A clerk of the works is what they are is they oversee. Like we have a clerk of the works right now that's works in the for the courts. They oversee all the vendors coming in on all the jobs that they do. He's a supervisor for those jobs. He also supervises any maintenance staff and any jobs that are going on within those facilities at that point.
This is a new position.
This is a new position. This is the second clerk of the works that we're putting in. This is actually for the St. Rose complex that we're doing this for, because we are going to acquire some of those buildings up there, and we're going to need somebody on site in order to take care of any maintenance and deal with the HVAC and any kind of construction actions that we have to go on up there.
And you already mentioned the new weights and measure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. You have a number of vacancies across your department. Can you please tell us what efforts are being made to recruit and maintain your full staffing levels?
Yes, these are ongoing, like a lot of them, building maintenance mechanics. You'll see the building maintenance mechanics. We just promoted 2 building maintenance mechanics into senior maintenance mechanics, so we're looking to fill those right now. These are more active recruitments because we had some retirements as of recent. Same thing with custodial workers part-time. We deal with a lot, some leave, they get to that retirement age because a lot of them are really second jobs on the custodial part-times. but it's always active recruitment on those. You know, we deal with affirmative action and HR in order to get people in here and try and get these jobs filled.
Okay, all right. So, do I have any questions from members of the committee or the legislature? Carolyn McLaughlin.
Thank you. Will the pending demolition of the central warehouse have any impact on your services?
On general services, the only impact we have right now is we are issuing the permits for the raising of it. They have to deal with us. Anything that's done on county property, as far as that goes, has to go through our codes department if we're building it or whatever we're building. That's our only liability portion of any of those projects.
Any other questions from any of the members? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time, as always.
Motion to adjourn?
That was the last one.
Second.
We're out of juice.